Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is set to introduce many different revelations in this film that'll change our view of the entire Skywalker saga by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. So what's really exciting about this film is that we do know that J.J. is of course finding multiple ways in order to connect this movie to the prequels and the originals, as well as Star Wars Legends material, as well as the existing canon that falls under Disney. Now these past couple of weeks or so we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very exciting for episode 9. Now specifically what's really intriguing about all of this is that a description of Rey on board of the Millennium Falcon, while Poe and Finn as well as Chewbacca are in the cockpit while they are within a hyperspace route to the exotic jungle world to meet with the Dark Prince. It's described that one of the scenes involves a moment in which Rey goes through a bag full of Luke's belongings that she has been studying for the past year one by one to better her knowledge of the dark and the light. It's described that one of the objects that Rey discovers is said to have once belonged to Obi-Wan Kenobi, that Kenobi kept a big secret from anybody else, that was of course once Darth Maul's and later handed down to Luke. This device that Kenobi once owned is described as a strange rod-like device that glows in a blue hue and is said to be a key to one of the dark acolyte temples in the unknown regions that Maul somehow got his hands on before the events of the original trilogy. It's said that Maul held onto this device and was in search of ways to get to the unknown regions, to discover the Dark Acolyte Temple that somehow was eventually lost and fell into the hands of Kenobi many years ago and was stored within the Jedi Temple on Coruscant for years, before Luke discovered in Kenobi's hut after his death. It's said that Luke traveled to Kenobi's hut around 1 year after the events of Episode 6 and discovered this Dark Acolyte key to one of the temples in the unknown regions. So let's go over a couple of parts about this, about Kenobis Big Secret of Darth Maul here, that Darth Maul eventually discovered one of the Acolyte's keys to their temples, that of course resides over in the unknown regions. Now in case you guys did not know, we've actually been going over this for quite a long time now, that the unknown regions serves as a bridge or a connection, if you will, to the Beyond itself. Now the Beyond is said to be the home of the Dark Acolytes. Now the Dark Acolytes were actually featured in the Clone Wars animated movie, you guys may recall, and now they are bringing them back into canon material under Disney and using them and utilizing them in a different way in Episode 9. So they're not going to be the same exact Dark Acolytes that we actually saw in Star Wars Legends or in the previous other material that belonged to Star Wars overall. Now they're doing it in a different way, where they're going to actually reside over in the Beyond, and that the bridge to get over into the existing galaxy is through the unknown regions. So this leads one to believe exactly that why Maul was trying to search for the Dark Acolytes, why he had the key to the actual Dark Acolyte Temple, and how it fell into the hands of Obi-Wan Kenobi is a big mystery. However, nonetheless, it eventually fell into the hands of Luke Skywalker after Luke traveled to Tatooine once more, 1 year after the events of Episode 6, and discovered Kenobi's hut, and in there, he actually found a lot of secrets that Kenobi kept locked away, one of which was this key that once belonged to a Dark Acolyte and serves as a way to unlock one of the Dark Acolyte temples that Darth Maul held on to for years on end. Now what I like about this is that this is yet once again J.J. Abrams connecting all of the key characters in The Rise of Skywalker that's really going to be used as a foundation of new Star Wars lore. That's one thing that I think a lot of fans need to keep in mind here, is that The Rise of Skywalker is yes going to be the end of the sequel trilogy and the end of the entire Skywalker saga, and yes, they are focusing on the main characters like Rey, Kylo, Luke, Leia, Lando, Han, etc. But at the same exact time, they are laying down the groundwork here in order to introduce new Star Wars lore, to really expand off of all of this in the forms of books, novels, comics, during the year of 2020. 2020, by the way, is going to be a big year for Star Wars canon material that is not movie related. So I think that's one thing to look forward to for sure. You know, everything that's going to happen after the events of The Rise of Skywalker and everything that happened in between the originals, the sequels, and the prequel trilogy era. So with that being said, this key is said to be a rod-like device that glows in a blue hue that is said to be a key to one of the Dark Acolyte temples. Now, it really does make one wonder exactly what this Dark Acolyte temple really looks like, because it serves as a way to get over to the middle point of the Beyond itself, the center, if you will, the Dark Core. Now, that tells us right then and there that this actually may very well be a different galaxy, since the middle point of the Beyond is dubbed as the Dark Core. Now, we also know that Episode 9 is going to introduce a lot of new elements from Star Wars Legends that's going to be made canon by JJ, Chris Terrio, George Lucas, etc. So that's another thing to truly look forward to seeing in Episode 9. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.